Counselor? There's a raccoon stuck in the vending machine.
That's so annoying. I wanted a snack.
Welcome to Trail Mix.
Our mini episodes from Camp Counselors podcast.
Each week, the stories come from you, our Camp Shady Birch campers.
We want to hear your juicy gossip,
Top secret confessions,
embarrassing and scary stories,
and sprinkle in our sage counselor advice.
Trail Mix is for the campers.
And God, do we love you.
Hey, happy campers.
Welcome back to Trail Mix.
Our mini episodes where we read listener-submitted stories. We're back.
2024 Trail Mix, we're kicking off. Even though we recorded this in early December, it's all an illusion. Stories never have an expiration date. The joy carries on through what you've told us. That's the art of storytelling. Storytelling goes as far back as the old barbarians. What were they called?
The 1980s.
No, what were they? Was that what they were called? Barbarian?
Caveman?
Yeah. Why? What is a barbarian?
I think a caveman.
Is that an offensive term?
I don't know.
Oh wait, I meant caveman for the record.
Oh, geez, it's 2024. You can't just say barbarian.
I don't know if you can. I'm really nervous. Yeah. So this is we're recording a little early, but we had an influx of incredible stories in the month of November. People really slayed the Boots house down. So we're hoping that this year, which I believe it will bring menagerie of incredible tales from our campers.
Yeah, so if you have ever thought about sending in a story for any of these sections, just send it on in to campcounselorspod@gmail.com or go to our website, campcounselorspodcast.com. You can submit it there.
Yeah, let's start the year out together, telling stories and sharing the podcast with a friend and building our camp community. It's really exciting. It's a new year, and I'm excited to see where we end up a year from now. But we're not going anywhere, campers. So strap in for another incredible year and let's get into it.
On the menu today, we've got an embarrassing wedding confession.
Advice for an old friendship gone south.
A stranger hopping into a camper's car.
And we have some campers that were almost banned from Amtrak.
All right, let's get into it. Are we qualified to be giving advice? No. Are we going to do it anyway? Absolutely.
Welcome back to Dear Counselors, the first Dear Counselors of the year. Oh my God, how exciting. All the advice we're going to give everybody this year. Let's get into it, campers. Okay, so Dear Counselors, I'm an avid listener while in the car, commutes. So if you read this, just know I crashed my car screaming with excitement.
Please don't.
Let's not start the year that way, but I love your enthusiasm. Okay, get ready for the mood shift. I need your advice.
Okay.
It's good. We need to give good advice this year. So that's why I picked this one. So recently, after a couple gummies, I was really deep in thought about my best friend. Let's call her Jean from 7th grade, junior year of high school. It was the mid to late 2000s, and we were both deep in a scene phase. That fact is not relevant, but hey, I'm trying to paint a picture for you. I love that. I love anyone that was in a scene phase. I was never in my scene phase, but I was friends with a lot of people in their scene phase, and I appreciate the scene phase for what it was.
I had like a foot into the scene phase door, but I didn't go on full scene phase.
I don't know. I've seen pictures of your old Facebook, babe. I think you had a little bit of a scene phase. I love it.
A little bit.
I want to see a Smithsonian exhibit dedicated to the scene phase. I want to see Jenko jeans.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that weird zebra clip-in hair extension.
I was just gonna say that's what I think of the most, hair bows, very Melissa Marie Millionaires-esque.
Oh, it was like the generation of hair.
Yeah.
Truly.
Absolutely.
Okay, so anyways, Jean and I share a really deep friendship, and she felt like a sister. Well, she had a giant crush on a guy for about 3 years. Let's call him Brandon. But after he continuously rejected her, she started dating his best friend. Let's call him Zane. But we still knew deep down that she still liked Brandon. So while she was dating Zane, she went out of the country to visit family over the summer before junior year. And I ended up hooking up with Brandon, and then we started dating.
Okay.
Are you following here?
I'm following.
So needless to say, she came back to the States and found out. She pretended it was no big deal for a little while, but after a couple months later, she finally broke and told me she never wanted to speak to me again. I was such a bad friend to her and totally messed up, but I never even said that. I acted like I did nothing wrong as she had a boyfriend, but really I knew how much this would hurt her and I did it anyways. I owed her at the very least an apology, but couldn't even have done that. We literally never spoke again. I'm literally in my mid-30s now, and I still think about how sad it is that I could have hurt a friend like her. I had no idea how I had absolutely no conscience when I was 15. I now think of all the friends I've had for decades and think about how I cut short those memories Jean and I could have made together over a stupid boy. I think of her often and always say a positive little thought for her. I recently came across her Instagram and thought about sending her a message apologizing and pretty much saying what I've said here. But is that crazy? Or would it be meaningful to reach out? Is this just my Irish Catholic guilt manifesting on every misdeed in my life? As I've already put this off for over 15 years, no worries if you don't get to this till 2026. Love y'all so much. The Repentant Camper in Cabin 5. Well, Camper, it's 2024, so we're 2 years early on your request. Yes. Do you have any thoughts about this?
I do. I think, you know what? Why not just send the message and apologize? Clearly it's weighing on you.
Yeah.
I am gonna believe that it's gonna be water under the bridge, but I feel like, you've both grown as people so much since it's been 15 plus years. But I feel like it could also do more. It could do good for you. And also, like, you don't know the impact it could have on her. She could still be like, having trust issues with people.
Yeah, I think you should. I think like Jonathan said, it's weighing on your heart. Like, what's the worst thing that happens? She doesn't respond. It's like you haven't talked to her since anyways. And you made a mistake at 15. I think we've all made mistakes as a teenager that we could go back and like wish we could change. So I wouldn't be hard on yourself. But I think you should reach out. And maybe it won't blossom into an incredible friendship again, but hey, maybe it will. And I think it would be nice to hear from someone like that. I would like that. If I was on the other side of it, I'd be like, well, thank you. We all grow, The person we were at 15 is not the person we are today.
God, I would hope not. If you are the same person you were when you were 15 and you're in your 30s now, Godspeed. But yeah, who knows? Maybe it could blossom into a friendship and you could just like rekindle that relationship. I mean, don't go into it with the high hopes of doing that. But it sounds like if it's weighing on you enough to write into 2 gay counselors to talk about on their podcast, I think you should really put some thought into what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and just send it and hope for the best. And if you don't get anything back, you know what? It didn't hurt.
Yeah, I like that she like had 2 gummies and was like, I'm going to think about my life and all the wrong I've ever done. It's like, it's what you do on a gummy,
Yeah.
So act on it. Don't overthink it. Just send a little message. Hey, miss you. Just want to say after all these years, I am so sorry for what I did. I know it's unforgivable, but just so you know, I regretted it all the time. And I just hope you're well. And I love you guys do a little positive thought for her when you think about her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start doing that for people I love.
Yeah.
When I think about them, a little positive energy into the universe. Hope they're doing well. That was a really nice thing that I took from this message. So good luck, Camper. Let us know how it goes. This is a really big secret. Thank God we're on a body of water. This is Confession Canoe.
Welcome back to Confession Canoe. If you've got something on your chest, you just got to tell somebody, tell us, and we'll tell the world. Okay, let's get into this. This camper writes in, hi, counselors. When my husband and I got married 4 years ago, we had our ceremony in the woods. It was beautiful and serene, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. There was a moment just before the ceremony where I had to hide in the woods by myself so none of my guests would see me before the big moment. My bridesmaids were with me for the time, and then they left to do their walk. I was left completely alone. I had a mini panic attack and got a bubbly tummy, as IBS girlies do.
Yeah, especially when you're stressed, it's like, okay, it's activated.
Activated. It was then that I, in my white wedding gown, let out the wettest fart of my life.
Oh, like, oh no, not in the gown.
I thought I shit myself. I spent the entire ceremony with it in the back of my mind that I'm walking down the aisle with Hershey squirts on the back of my wedding dress. The anxiety, I couldn't even be in the moment at that point. I could not be in the moment at that point.
Yeah, I would have like gone to the bathroom and been like, hey, this ceremony can wait a minute.
But everybody's already been walking down. I would have been like, oh my God. And she's by herself. Yeah, you don't have like a little mirror or anything. You're in the woods, babe.
She's in the deep woods.
After the ceremony, we were supposed to take group photos. So we got on a golf cart that brought us down to the grassy area. We're talking about shitting yourself or golf carts on this podcast.
And this is a podcast based in a fake camp, which would be in woods. So this all just feels very on brand for Camp Shady Birch.
It does. While we were taking pictures, my maid of honor saw something brown on my wedding dress. I broke out into a cold sweat. I thought for sure I had shit myself. I had shit myself all over my wedding dress. I had ruined my wedding. All the girls came over to help. I was ready to die right there in the field. But as it turned out, the golf cart we rode on had some mud that had transferred onto my dress.
Oh, thank God.
The biggest coincidence and absolutely the worst timing. You'll never meet a bride in this lifetime happier to have mud on her wedding dress than I was in that moment. So like the girls are surrounding her. They're like, oh my God, you have mud on your dress. And she's like, oh my, yeah, it's mud. I have mud on my dress. And they're like, girl, what is wrong with you? And she's just like, it's mud on my dress. It's just mud.
Oh
like,
my God.
Girl, you're acting crazy. You have mud on your dress. Why are you not pissed? I'm sure everyone thought that I was just playing it cool after I realized that I had mud on my dress. I was so relieved that it was not excrement. After our photos, we did the grand entrance, and I was finally able to sneak away to the bathroom to confirm that I did not shit my chiffon.
Yeah, let it be known she didn't shit herself, campers.
I enjoyed the rest of my wedding without incident, and now it's a hilarious memory. I shared this story with my husband during our honeymoon, but I have not told another soul until this very moment.
Oh my God.
Signed, Almost Poo in Cabin 2.
The fact that like she probably was like the cool, everyone's like, she's such a cool girl. Like she got dirt on her dress and she doesn't even care. She's just like so cool like that. She's like, no, I thought it was shit and it wasn't. So thank the fucking God it isn't. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Can you imagine like the second that you look down and someone's like, oh my God, brown on your dress. I would have literally, you know, when you get that lightheaded feeling and you just feel like you could collapse and like drop to your knees.
Yeah.
That probably would have happened to me because then you're remembering, oh my God, this entire wedding for the rest of my life, I'm going to be the bride who shit themselves. But thank God she wasn't.
You never want to shit yourself. And that's something I firmly believe in my truth. But to shit yourself on your wedding day, I don't think there's something much worse.
And then somebody's going to be like, you know, it's good luck if you shit your britches.
And it's not like you have a backup dress. It's like,
no,
kind of the only one. It's like, let me go change into my sweats. But good for you, camper. Because sometimes those really intense moments can lead to a little bit of a bubble gut. But you know what? Someone was shining down on you and said, not today, ma'am, not today.
We had a similar incident. We were riding on the golf cart.
We didn't have a similar incident.
We were riding on the golf cart and Sam was driving and she's like, it smells like shit. And we're like, what is that? And then we looked down and she had run over shit and it flung all over. We were in the golf cart and it flung all over everything and we had to get wet leaves to wipe it off. I think that's similar, but we didn't shit ourselves.
And it wasn't a wedding day.
And it wasn't mud. It was actual shit. See?
Well, golf carts are dangerous.
Yeah.
That's the lesson here. But congrats on your wedding. And I'm glad it wasn't poop.
Scary stories around the campfire.
Welcome back to Scary Stories Around the Campfire. These are either creepy or embarrassing or just fun. It's a very, I don't know, loose category.
Yeah, it's loosey. It's loosey-goosey.
I love my story, so I'm going to start today.
All right, let's go.
Oh, wait. So here's the story about the time my friends and I almost got banned from using the Amtrak train because we made our last names dessert. So it was the second semester of my freshman year of college, and one of my friends suggested we go to Boston for the day. To make it easier, my friends bought all of our tickets at once. What she failed to mention was that she made all of our last names dessert items. All aboard Miss Rocky Road, Miss Nutter Butter, Miss Oreo, and me, Miss Ladyfinger.
I love that.
This is so me. I know I said it a lot, but like I would love that. Like I don't know if I would do it for someone else, but if someone was like, oh, this is your ticket, you're Miss Oreo for the day, I would like make that my whole entire personality. That's such a fun thing to do.
What would you pick for your name?
If it was a dessert themed.
Yeah, if we're sticking on the same brand, if we're in this group of friends, what are you hoping that you got?
Miss Custard.
I would be Miss Fruitcake.
Oh, yeah.
It's fitting.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We know our truth. Okay, so unbeknownst to our pure and stupid little freshman brains, using fake identification is illegal. This wasn't obvious as our initial ticket inspector got a kick out of our last names. What are you, a cookie band? He teased. We laughed and thought we were the funniest people to ever exist. It's like starting off as like a really magical day.
I picture Debbie Ryan when she's in that interview and she's like, yeah, and like giggles and like walks off. Like those are these girls. They're like, yeah, yeah, we're like the funniest girls you've ever seen.
They technically are to me. I think this is hysterical. Fast forward to 6 hours later, my friends and I are running through North Station about to miss our train. As we rush on the platform, we're immediately stopped by an evidently pissed off ticket inspector. Are you the cookies? He said with almost a too serious face. How could you not laugh saying that? When we confirmed our delectable identifications, the man proceeded to lecture us on the issues of using fake names. In extreme detail, he described a scene in which the train went off the rails and there were bodies lying everywhere. If we listed names on the news, no one would be able to identify a person with the last name Oreo. We nodded our heads in understanding while simultaneously looking horrified. For the next hour and a half train ride, the man stood next to our chosen seats and made sure the cookie band didn't escape. It wasn't until later that day that my friend who initially bought the tickets realized that Amtrak had called her many times throughout our day in Boston. These calls finalized with a threatening and aggressive voicemail detailing the downfall of our decision and its violation of the company's policy. It was also mentioned that we could be banned from Amtrak from doing such a foolish joke. What? My spotless reputation was going to be tainted by using the last name Ladyfinger on a train ticket? How fucking embarrassing. Thankfully, these threats never equated to anything, and all of us are able to ride the train without question. I honestly think the ticket inspector on our last train wanted to scare us more than anything. 5 years later, and this story is still one of my favorites to share at parties. And that's how the cookie crumbles. Love eating Oreos and peanut butter in cabin 3.
Clever girl.
Clever girl. That's how the cookie crumbles. And then with the Parent Trap shout out with the Oreos and peanut butter in cabin 3.
I love it.
Isolation cabin. Just a clever story. I get it. I understand with that analogy with if there was an accident, how do we would identify? I do get that.
I feel like it's less of that, but more of people illegally traveling, crossing state lines and shit like that. I feel like there would be more of a concern for that versus a derailing Amtrak, which happens, but rarely. Do you know what I mean? They kind of just want to know who's on the train and who's traveling from point A to point B. Had a crime been placed off of the train, you know?
Well, the train is just so, it's not my fault. And I don't want Amtrak to cancel me here, but sorry, you're not TSA, babe. This isn't pre-check. This isn't it's just, you're so unserious and you're so off schedule 24/7. It's if you want me to respect the laws and the policies of Amtrak, how about we take the ticket prices of trains down, because I shouldn't be paying the same amount of money for a train as a plane ticket. One time, we were trying to figure out transportation for you because I had the car, you were in Philly, there was an issue, and we went back and forth, and I was why are the train tickets from Philly to New York the same as the flights? It's I'm sorry, Amtrak, if you want us to take you seriously, how about you run your business a little bit more seriously?
The woman who was sitting next to me, a complete stranger, very nice lady, her plug wasn't working, so she had to use mine. I'm where are these prices going? Because it's not putting quality into the chairs. And I was nice enough, because she was being awkward and I could tell that her thing was dying. And I was I can plug it in for you. So I plugged it in and she had to run the cord across my lap, which felt so nice. Very intimate. I know, I'm so
no, that's really that's kind of gesture, because that's your nature. I think you can infer when people are needing help and you're you step in.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let it hang, and then I would feel awkward the whole time being I have an open outlet
here. Is
here.
Amtrak listening? Because you need a rebrand. You need Jonathan on the ground, and you need him being the boots on the ground PR person, because he's bringing joy and friendship to strangers on Amtrak, and you guys are attacking Miss Ladyfinger here. I'm not into that. I'm not into that at all. I'm standing on my ground and I'm standing up for Miss Ladyfinger.
I love that. I would love to work for you guys. Chugga chugga choo choo Carson.
Yeah. So let's do the Cam Counselors X Amtrak partnership. I take back what I said. We love you.
I also do love traveling by train. I will say we saw that one TikTok.
Everyone's seen it. Let's talk about that for a minute.
It's a Lux train. What was it? It was
so
huge.
That one was in Vermont.
And I would love to do that.
So I've seen them do the Pacific Coast. Those really gorgeous train rides, guys, where it's a luxe cabin and it's all glass walls and you're looking at gorgeous scenery. This isn't the one you take through the middle of Baltimore, you guys.
Private bathroom.
Yeah,
private bedroom.
This is just gorgeous. That's when I romanticize trains. Obviously, well, this is December, so it's while we're recording, but Polar Express, that's a fun train kind of thing.
I've never seen the Polar Express.
Isn't that crazy, guys? He's never seen the Polar Express, and the animation is so uncomfortable. We're not going to talk about that right now because it's January.
Okay.
But yeah, enough train talk, I feel.
Yeah, enough train talk. Let's get into the next scary story.
You have a scary story as well?
I have a scary story as well. This one is dead ass scary.
It's spooky?
Yeah.
Oh, good. We need a spooks.
Okay, so hi counselors. I have a story from 10 plus years ago that still haunts me to this day. I was 17 years old with a beat up car I paid for by working as a hostess at a restaurant. Being that it was from the year 1997 and was a base model car, there were no automatic locks. It was a situation where I would have to manually lock and unlock each door. Key to this scary story. My friend, let's call her Ashley, and I were hanging out at my house until I had to go to work. I told Ashley I would drive her home on my way to work. I pull into Ashley's driveway, we say our goodbyes, she gets out, and I continue on my way. I'm stopped at a stop sign at the end of Ashley's street when I see a woman charging at my car. As she gets closer, I see she has blood on her face, bruises on her body, and she seems to be foaming at the mouth.
Oh, but please stop. Please, this is my worst nightmare.
I start to get nervous as she's heading straight for my car, but I'm at a stop sign at a busy street where the traffic going in front of me does not stop. So she just has to like yield to the traffic. So she's kind of stuck there. So I can't hit the gas to get away from this woman. Just as I'm about to lean over my seats and try to lock the door, she waddles over to my car and pulls the door open, letting herself inside.
Oh no, please, gosh.
Hi, can I help you? I say to this woman who was covered in blood and mouth foam, currently sitting in my passenger seat. I just got released from the hospital. I need you to take me to the bar, says the woman. Just reminding you that our camper here at the time was 17 years old when this is happening.
Yeah, fear has no age though. I'd be scared at 28.
I can't help you. I'm running late for work, I respond. She says that I can just drive her on my way. All right, then. What else am I supposed to do? Hey, I get it. It's like, I wouldn't know what to do in this situation either. I want this woman out of my car. And you don't know. It's clearly a dangerous situation. You don't know what she has on her. You know, to be like, get out of my car. Like, what if she has like a shank?
Yeah, and also like if a bloody woman is in my front seat of my car foaming at the mouth, I don't know. Like, it's easy to be like, oh, I would do this, but it's like, what would you really do in the situation? You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just easier to go along with it, which is so unsafe. But what can you do?
Yeah, especially driving, because then it's like, all right, I'm going to make a right here. I'm going to turn the radio on softly. Like, what the fuck?
Are you into pop or more of a rock check?
I start to drive towards my work. Do you have any money? She asks me.
Of course.
I do. Like an idiot teenager, I'm carrying $250 in cash on me, as my job was under the table and paid me in cash each night. No, I don't have any money, I tell her. She cusses me out and starts mumbling nonsense. My heart is going a million miles a minute, and I'm getting dizzy from how scared I am at this point.
Panic attack.
I know, dead ass. My plan is to just drive to my work and have one of the men I work with deal with her, as my workplace is only a few miles down the road. Then it happens. I start to smell a familiar odor as she says, I just peed my pants. This story's so
This
gross.
woman's an absolute crisis, and our camper has been sucked into this like madness.
I know. Hi guys, happy New Year. Welcome to the New Year. We're really going off the shit and pissed this year. She peed herself while in my car. I'm scared, shocked, and livid. She then asks me again if I have any money. I tell her I don't. And then she lights a cigarette, and that's where I draw the line.
You're like, ma'am, please.
You can't smoke in my car. My parents will smell it and I'm going to get in trouble. I tell her. I laugh at my 17-year-old brain. I was more worried about getting in trouble when my parents smell smoke than the fact that there is a literal crazy woman who just pissed herself inside of my car that I'm driving around like Ms. Daisy. She grumbles something at me and she seems upset that I have no money and that I won't let her smoke in my car. She sees a man walking and asks me to pull over so she can go ask for money and then we can continue our journey to the bar. Obviously, I pull over, let her out, and then I hit the gas hard. Once I'm at work, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, that was her escape. That was like lucky.
Yeah, imagine being like, all right, I'll wait here for you, Beatrice.
Yeah,
take your time.
Hazards are on. Come back when you're ready.
Once I'm at work, I tell my manager about the situation and call the police. I ended up getting sent home from work because I was too shaken up to talk to any strangers. My mom cleans the passenger seat the best she could, and I drove around with newspapers on it for the next few days to soak up the wetness. It's disgusting. Needless to say, I was scared to drive alone for a while after that. To this day, my heart starts racing when people I don't know get too close to my stopped car for any reason. Ladies, take this as a reminder to lock your doors always. Sincerely, Stranger Danger in Cabin 7.
That is such an obscure, incredible story that
So scary.
it's so unlikely, but how wild that happened to you. I'm so sorry.
So in college, I had a friend, Julia, who didn't go to my college, but she would drive to my apartment. And I was living in North Philly at the time. And this literally happened to her. She didn't have the lock on the cars.
So maybe it is common.
And opened the door and got in. But
Oh,
Julia
God.
was like, she would dye her hair. But she was like a punk bitch. She was like, get the fuck out of my car. And I think this woman was more scared of Julia than she was of her. But she was like, She came into my house. She was like, this woman just got into my car like 2 blocks away from your house. Just letting you know to like lock your doors and keep an eye out. It's absolutely terrifying.
Cars are getting safer though, if you think about it, because like now, like the cars of the last like 6-7 years, they all have backup cams, which is really great.
Beep, beep, beep,
And
beep,
like
beep,
my
beep.
car automatically locks when I drive, which is great. I've already told that story in the podcast that happened to me though when a guy tried to get in my car.
Yeah.
The drunk Santa. He was just really shit faced and he thought it was his
an
Uber.
Yeah.
But he opened my car door and I screamed at him. I was so scared. Anyone opening your car door, it's the most vulnerable thing ever. The best thing you can do is just start yelling. But the foaming of the mouth and the urine on the seat is unprecedented. And
To say the least.
God bless you. And I'm so happy she got to go home from work. They're like, send her home. She can't work today. It's like, no,
Yeah.
she's got to process this. That's horror. That's one of those scariest stories we read on the podcast.
Yeah.
To think about having to go through. Like, that's terrifying.
So if you've got a story that you'd like us to read, you know how to send it to us.
Another great episode here at Camp Shady Birch. We love trail mix. We love our campers. And with that being said, lights out, campers.